Alright guys, well, we're going to struggle to keep this all in camera. The winds were howling out quite a bit today and was making filming nearly impossible, and this review has sort of been on the back burner for a while. If you guys have been following my channel, I had picked up a pack last year that I was not particularly thrilled with its quality, and so I needed a pack to replace that. Botash Tactical seemed to have a pretty good deal going on some of the Kelty tactical bags. In front of you is the Strike 2300. Now they do change their nomenclature quite often, so I'm not 100% sure what this is called now. I know there's a MAP 3500, there's a Raven 2500. They're all fairly similar, so you're just going to have to use this review as sort of a bullet point as Kelty's robustness and how it's held up more than anything. The particular size of this pack, I will have to take this out and maybe just insert some pictures if the wind is still too bad of just how much gear you can put into this thing. Eventually we're going to be turning this into a get-home bag of sorts. Would be more in line of what you guys consider to be a 72-hour kit, or some of your smaller bobs. Certainly my bug-out bag is going to be a lot bigger. Most people consider a bug-out bag something just for 72 hours, and so that's more along the lines of what I consider to be a get-home bag, because nowadays people are traveling a whole lot longer distances, urban and, in the city environment, suburbans. You've got a ways to go. You've got that nice house that's a little bit quieter away from the city, but the money is still in the city. And so in the event of emergency, you really need to have a couple days worth of stuff to be able to get home. Realistically, you've got to expect you may have injuries, but that will all wait for another day. So on with the review. I'll try to pan as smoothly as possible, but you can see it's a fairly large pack. You guys have been seeing this pack all the way back till last year. I believe the first time I took it out was the Winter Storm video, which I will stick a link up there. I'll put it in a quick up over here, built-in rain cover on the Kelty, just coming in very handy. That clip of what you saw, really, we'll just start with the bottom here, is, as you can see, this pack has seen a fair amount of use, so excuse its dirtiness, but there has been no failures of seams, there has been no rips whatsoever. You can see there's a little bit of paint missing on the bottom zipper, but all the zipper pulls, I believe, are intact. I haven't replaced any, but this has its own internal rain fly, and in fashion of the tactical, it is in that tactical brown that you just saw in there. It all folds in nicely, and that comes in handy. I don't know why more packs don't have that. I've never really looked for that specific feature in a pack, but after having it, I certainly appreciate it. You can see two huge drain holes on the bottom. There is a gear loop for poles, or ice axes, of course, is what they're called, ice axe loop. Onto the side pouches. Let's go there. Make sure I can get all this in frame here. They're pretty good size, and I will grab a canteen. As many of you guys know, the size of a canteen or an Nalgene bottle, 32 ounces, but this will soak up a canteen kit, no problem. I will hold an Nalgene, no problem. It holds my amp first aid kit, AMP3 first aid kit, no problem. So the side pouches are generous. The other thing you're going to see, especially talking about quality, is all finished inside seams. They're all extra taped. That will add with a little extra weight, of course, but I appreciate the extra finishing touches. Down the sides of those pouches, it is a pass-through. So if you are strapping large things on the side, I can get all the way to the bottom inside that pouch next to it, which on the main body, there are 2 compression straps on each side, which lend itself very nicely for strapping long and sort of obnoxious items on there. So you can certainly get some bigger stuff. Some people will consider this size to be, an assault pack. This isn't a terribly militaristic styled, even though it's called tactical. There is no real MOLLE on this pack. Has an identical side pouch, just like we discussed. So you have 2 of those, same pass-through, same double compression on each side. You can see there's a daisy chain up the front. This front pouch has a half moon, unzips about 2/3 the way down. Let's see there, it only zips about 2/3. This pouch folds out. This is a very soft felt material. It's considered a sunglass case. It is retained with sunglasses, so if you have a safety glasses, sunglasses, any sort of protective lenses, maybe a spare lens, certainly if you go out during the day and you're wearing clear lenses, tinted lenses, and you need to pack something with clear lenses for any night ops, or if you're out later than you intended, for the military that are using that in such fashion. Something to consider. Nothing really in the very bottom, but the bottom does go all the way down there. This is sort of their admin area. You've got a zippered mesh pocket. You have another sleeve, some pen sleeves. You have 2 more divided sleeves right behind that. And then this back sleeve, which I have some more stuff in there, goes quite a bit ways down there. There is a key keeper as well. So this is sort of your, get to quickly admin area up front. Seems to be the pouch that I end up throwing way too much small crap in there for sure. The front pouch is not directly connected to the back. As you can see, there is webbing and a buckle. And that goes, again, all the way down to the bottom. So whether it be, an awkward item that doesn't fit in the pack, something muddy, perhaps a snow shovel, a helmet, anything of that nature, you can secure on the outside. And the side here has a little bit of elastic webbing that maintains security in that little side pouch. So in case you throw little things down here, they're not going to fall through between the 2 pouches and the panels. Going into the main pack. Again, no issues with the zipper. You're going to see more finished seams on the inside. And let's pop this back so you can kind of see. Make sure enough light's getting in there. So it's actually a big pack. When you undo those side straps, it has the capacity to easily become an overnight, multiple day sort of bag. I can certainly get, sleeping bag and all sorts of stuff. We'll go over that, like I said, with the get home bags, and I'll insert some pictures and things, of course. Inside here is sort of just an elastic piece for storing maybe a jacket or things. It goes all the way to the bottom. Behind that is what they consider to be the bladder section. There are a couple toggles, so if you're carrying the bladders, the double bladders, this pouch will buckle. So any sort of big loose items that you're holding back here, you can cinch to keep up against your back. Any sort of heavy items. Ideally, I believe some of the packs that Kelty does, they have a separate radio pouches for some of your military comms. You want that battery and that radio, high and as close to your back as possible, and that's kind of where some of that comes in. There is access to the aluminum stays. For whatever reason, you want to remove them, but I think that's one of the biggest assets with this pack. Some of the other smaller sort of assault 3-day packs that you're going to see out there that are equal to the cubic inches of this pack don't have the support. You'll see this has actual true hip straps. This actually has twin aluminum stays in it. So when you load this thing down, you can properly put that weight onto your belt. Now, some of you combat loadout guys, I don't know if the belt would reach. As you guys know, a lot of times some of the belt lengths are just inadequate to get around all that gear. But that's just not how I've been able to test it. So you'll have to experiment that or whatnot. But let me get this zipped up. There is, on the very top, very heavy duty handle. There's a bladder access for your hose to come out directly on top, aptly named H2O. Get this zipped up. We'll go to the back. Alright, so a very soft, supple, sort of moisture wicking athletic material that you've seen in a lot of packs in the last few years. Very padded, very comfortable. You don't notice the stays as much. You can see that eventually that will start to pill up. You can see that. Zoom in. That material eventually, the more you use this pack, it will start to soften up and pill a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. You know, that happens. This has been a full year of testing. The side strap buckles here, for adjusting the webbing, I think I would just cinch that down and maybe glue it, because I've had a number of times, especially on the motorcycle, where these will come out of these retention webs, and then you've got this 2-inch flapping piece that's kind of obnoxious. I do have a compass on here. There is a chest buckle and webbing to keep the straps on. Very nice thick padded shoulder belt or shoulder pads. The hip belt, as we were discussing, is more than just some webbing. Some of the packs that are along this size you're going to see are just basically some webbing, just to keep it from swinging around. This is actually a padded waist belt. It does distribute the weight with those stays extremely well. There is a compression piece back here for each side, so you can tug the bag up against your hips. It does a very nice job with what I would appreciate more companies doing, but you know, a nice sturdy 2-inch belt across there, and this is removable. So there's a little bit of Velcro back there. Forgive all the wrangling around here. Normally I would do this outside, as I said, but it is removable, which I did, especially riding around most of the time on the motorcycle. Simply the same thing with military guys. With motorcycle gear, it becomes very too bulky, and I don't really need, that doesn't necessitate that having a hip belt. So that does come off, and that's pretty much it. Kelty 2300 Strike, is I believe what it's called, and then we'll go into some pictures. Then I'll take you outside and kind of show you what it can hold. Outside, we've loaded this thing up with a fair amount of stuff. It's definitely not totally full. I don't have any little stuff here in the other pockets. I'm going to give it a little weight. This thing is a little bit off, but let's see if I can't zero it out real quick. Nope, doesn't want to. It's about a pound or so off, but let's see, we're just under 15, just under 20, 18 pounds. Bounce it up a little bit. So definitely, you know, right along sort of the weight. I don't know that I would load this any more than 30 pounds. I don't have a ton of water or everything in here right now, but just to kind of give you a size, overall size idea. Make sure I'm on the camera here. Over here, last night we did the Nalgene, or the canteen. So here's the Nalgene. It is partially frozen, and in the bottom there is a Snow Peak 700. Fits in there. Turn this little guy around here. Other side, we went with sort of extra shelter. I've got a little bit of cordage. I have a 5x7 multicam tarp in here. There's some cordage. Here's a USGI hammock, kind of keep you off the ground in the winter. There's a SteriPen Adventure Opti. A little bit of water action. As you can see, on top here we have the shovel, the Lifeline shovel, previously reviewed, of course. Probably going to buy a second one this year when they go on sale, because this one's held up. I really like it for the money. Alright, getting to the main pack. As you can see, the compression straps weren't 100% done, and let me redo the camera so you got a little more light. Alright, try to get you a little more light in here. What I'm going to do is just sort of unzip the outside, take the other compression straps. You can see the straps here are, only maybe half done, so it's got a little bit more room for sure. It's unzipped. In here we have a AMP3 medical kit, winter clothing. There's a balaclava, there's a neck gaiter, there's 2 pairs of gloves, big mittens. I have one of my bulkiest pads in here, which is the winter Big Agnes pad. This is a 20-inch wide pad. It is set up insulated for winter use. It is what I used on the storm outing. So you don't want to use that tarp, fine. I have a one-man tent in there. Most of the bulk, this will be set up for winter camping. So here is the Big Agnes 15-degree encampment, and you can see all the sort of bug out pads that I did covering a lot of those gears. Those will get updated, and you'll also see the sleeping bags. So if you want to see comparison for what some of the sleeping bags I was using, like 4 years ago when I did those videos. So definitely can fit a winter sleeping bag in there. And that's it. I got the poles for the one-man tent. I have a collapsible wood stove in there, and that's it. I mean, there's still room to grow, but we got all of the basics, although I didn't put the knives and the fire starting stuff. The whole front pouch can be filled with all that kind of stuff. But first aid, shelter, clothing. Hopefully you got a good jacket on you and decent shoes maybe, but this is kind of a start for the get home bag. I just kind of want to show you guys that you can load this up for winter as well. Certainly for summer, there's gobs of room for all sorts of stuff in there. So